Louise Fletcher and I help artists to find their own creative voice. Today I want to show you 5 tools that help me to make interesting effects in my abstract paintings. But before I do that, I just want to tell you, link below in the description to download my free How to Find Your Style ebook. Very short little book that will give you everything you need to start making unique and creative art. Right, let me go show you my tools. So what are the tools? Actually, I'm cheating because there's 6. I'm using these 2 interchangeably. This is a baking spatula for cleaning out your baking bowl. This is a painter's tool. It's called a catalyst wedge. As you can see, this is a new one. As you can see, that is not new. I do have an older one of this, but it's got very clogged up. So this is called a catalyst wedge. This is just, I don't know the make, it's just a silicone scraper for baking with. This is the kind of trowel that builders and plasterers might use. This is a spray bottle like gardeners or hairdressers might use. This is a roll of Scotch shop towels, which are a very soft fabricy kitchen roll that I buy from America, but I can get them on Amazon or eBay, but they're actually American. Any kitchen roll soft towel will do. And my trusty orbital sander and or handheld sandpaper. So I'm going to show you what each of these tools can do just by messing about on some panels that I have that are not anything particular. Now, if you've ever painted with a palette knife, so this is not one of my unusual tools, but you know that you can get these kind of nice smoothed on effects like that. It's different from putting paint on with a brush. And so I want to show you that on a larger scale with this. So I'm just going to put a lot of paint on here, and I want a kind of creamy yellow colour, so I'm mixing Naples yellow with white, but this could obviously be any colour. And then if I put that down across the painting, I get this very strong mark. And then if I want to, in parts of it, I can turn the trowel on its edge and scrape some of that for different effects. You see? So you can get some really interesting effects, and then you've got some left on the trowel, which you can either put back on the palette or take it and apply it to another one. So that is the trowel. It's important. I'm not very good at cleaning my tools, but with this one you really do have to get it clean, otherwise you won't be able to use it again because it'll be all bobbly. Now in some ways this scraper can get some similar effects and some different effects. So first thing I can do with this scraper is to pull it into wet paint to make lines, so that can be quite nice. I don't like them, I can cover part of them back up again, and then I start getting some interesting effects. I like finding accidental effects. I can pull some of it off with this again and I'll get straight lines because it's a straight object, obviously. But I can also apply paint with this. And orange is a transparent colour, so that is showing through some of what's underneath, which is nice. But I can lay it on like this. I've mixed up some of the cream and orange there. And then I can pull some of it back off with the scraper to make different marks. So I really like this baking implement, and you can do very much the same thing with the catalyst wedge. Again, it's a tool for pulling across. You can also do this with old credit cards, although I just don't happen to have any at the moment that I'm using. But wherever the paint's wet, I can still pull it with these between, do you see? So that's why I didn't include this as one of my 5 tools, because they basically do the same things. Now, why did I say kitchen roll? Well, because I have various uses for kitchen roll. The first is, while the paint's still wet, I might come in and remove some of it. And I don't know if you can see this because the orange is staining a little bit, but I can remove some of the paint and leave some. So I quite like to do that. I can also if I use it dry, I can now smush and blend, do you see, into the cream that I put on there earlier. And then if I want more light in it, I can take some light on the tissue and rub it back in. And this can be really nice in realistic painting for clouds. This is a lovely way to get nice cloud effects. Now, if you do this with a wet cloth, what will happen is you'll pull some of the paint off, but doing it with a dry cloth, you blend it in nicely. So that's that. And sometimes I will take the whole roll and just pull paint across. So I use these tissues in multiple ways, painting with these. The other thing that's nice to do is if we crumple it up and we put that into something, we've now got a stamping tool in a pattern. Do you see? And that can create some nice effects that you're not expecting. So how about the water bottle? What does this do? So let's say I've decided, yeah, I actually didn't like that. I can put some water on and now blend it, and I can create really interesting fluid paint effects. And there's a myth that you can't put a lot of water into acrylic paint, and it's not true. If you don't believe me, look it up on Golden Paint's website. You can put a lot more than 30% of water into acrylic paint and it will still be fine. So you can create effects, and sometimes I will do that kind of thing. You can also create drips, and let me show you that on something where it'll be clearer what's happening. So let's say I want to make paint drip onto this lighter area here. So I'm going to turn it that way around so when I turn it up to the camera you can see. So I'd use a nice big brush with a lot of water in it already. I would get a very nice, decent, thick amount of paint. No kind of, you can't be skimpy if you want to do this technique. And then I will spray the water towards the top. You see, if you're too skimpy with this, what will happen is the drips will be too meek and mild and watery. So it needs to be a good solid amount of paint. And you can always come back and add more. And you can also press your brush in to make drips happen. And the drips can go that way as well. My fluid bottle has decided not to work for the demo. But you see what I mean. So we can really go crazy with drips. And I next want to show you my sander. So here, this one that I covered in paint. And so now you can see that colours are starting to show through behind other colours. Some pale blue is still there, but there's some pink, some yellow. Some pink is showing through under this yellow that I applied. If I kept going, I could get more of that. Get these interesting textures here. And this is all just part of the process for me. I would never sand a painting and say, right, that's it, it's done, just because I like the textures. But what it does do is it starts to build up interesting things, that the more layers I build up, the more interesting things I might find. And for me, it's that process of discovery and the magic moment when I realise, oh, stop, there's something there. And then I work to refine what I have. But the sander is a key tool for me in developing these interesting textured surfaces. Like, for example, this one, which I'm working on, perhaps finished, I'm not sure. Because I use collage papers as well, the little bits of collage paper show through, the textures from those, previous drawing and pencil marks, previous colours coming through here, some orange from a previous layer. These black marks here were caused by sanding. This was finger scraped through paint and then sanded back. So I get textures through sanding that I could not possibly imagine in my head. I just have to let the sander do its bit along with the other tools that I'm using. It all combines to build up and give me a better chance of creating something interesting than if I just work with brushes. Those are my 5 favourite tools. So I hope this has inspired you, given you some ideas. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and don't forget to download your free guide to finding your own style, which you can find linked below. See you later. Bye.